Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nice to be with you. So hopefully we're looking at, and good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Senate Bill 272, which should be LC 442375S. Is that correct? No, is this the old one?
They changed it back to the previous version.
So, all right, so, oh, here we go. My apologies. 4423656S. Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Thank you. So this is a follow-up to last year's Senate Bill 441. The intent behind the bill, Mr. Chairman, is to update the state's inadequate system for transmitting criminal history records. This bill builds off of last year's by improving on the work of the Criminal Case Data Exchange Board and placing the board with the Administrative Office of Courts and Judicial Council. I appreciate the support and diligence of Representative Hong's subcommittee. One question that came up during the subcommittee about why move the board from the Clerk's Council to the Administrative Office of Courts. And I want to again address that, and it's simply that the board's work over the last 9 months has shown that the problems with criminal records is bigger than whether a clerk is transmitting the information properly. It is an issue that spans the judiciary, and we think that involving the top of the judicial branch is really needed to correct the problem. The problem of incomplete criminal records is a problem for the whole state, but there are particularly high numbers of incomplete records in our metro counties. I appreciate the Metro Atlanta Chamber's support of this bill in the current form and the letter that they sent to the committee with that. The bill basically, as I said, in addition to moving the Criminal Case Data Exchange Board from the Council of Superior Court Clerks to the Administrative Office of Courts, it also, as the board is currently working on uniform standards for transmitting criminal history data, such as final dispositions that will apply statewide to DAs, solicitors, court clerks, and our court systems. It also, this bill gives authority to our district administrative judges to assist all classes of courts within their district with implementing the uniform standards that the board creates. And it also empowers several councils associated with the courts system to assist in training and the adoption of the uniform standards for criminal records transmission. Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to go on or maybe just answer some questions, but I appreciate your committee's hearing this and the consideration of Senate Bill 272.
Any questions from members of the committee? Number 11, Vice Chair Marie.
I see a letter from the Metro Atlanta Chamber, Dave Williams, in support of your bill, and appreciate you bringing this bill.
Thank you, Representative Reeves. I appreciate that, and I'm pleased to have the Metro Chamber support as well. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? All right, we don't, there's one. Representative Lee.
You have other speakers?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, never mind. I'll wait.
There you go. Go ahead.
I was going to make a motion, but
All right, so we don't have our quorum just yet, so I'm gonna just go ahead and make good use of the time and hear these bills. So, Mr. Pro Tem, we'll bring it up for a vote as soon as I get other members out of those Senate committees.
All right.
Get you a vote.
Yes, sir.
Hang out and enjoy our time here in Judiciary Non-Civil. You're more than welcome to.
All right, but that's not required, I take it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great day.
Chairman Strickland,
Yes,
so
sir.
we might can move some of them, members of this committee out of there. Let's go ahead and have you real quick.
I think we have 10 bills on the agenda starting at 4, but obviously we haven't gotten any yet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I have Senate Bill 157, LC 480935S. Is that what y'all have? I know a lot of y'all are in the subcommittee. I can be a little bit more brief, or I can get into more details if you have questions. But what we're trying to accomplish with this bill is create a standardized process for what our licensing boards, those boards under our Secretary of State's office and also independent boards, look at and consider when it comes to criminal records, with the goal being to help people get back into society that may have something on their record that's not even connected with the industry they want to work in. Right now, you're seeing boards treat records in different ways. You're also seeing it actually deter people from wanting to go work in a certain industry without knowing how their record's going to be used against them. And so with this bill, we narrow down the offenses that will be considered when it comes to misdemeanors and felonies. So we make sure those certain violent and sexual offenses are always considered. But otherwise, we limit down what's being considered. We also make sure that there's a standard now the boards have to have that nexus, that direct relationship between the actual crime and the safety of the public, and making sure that if it's examples I use are probably not good examples, but if you have a DUI, does that mean you should never work as a nurse? Or if you've stolen from people, should you ever work with our elderly? Two different things. Making sure there's a nexus between the actual crime that you've committed in the industry you want to work in. Third thing, part of that is the appeal process. We've now standardized the appeal process. There's due process built in to make sure that when someone is not a license, they can actually navigate the appeal process. And two other things, we've created what's called a predetermination process. As I mentioned, many people are deterred from ever even working in industries because they think their record is going to keep them from working. And so you'll have boards now putting on websites what disqualifies you from working in certain industries. You'll also have a way that someone can go and get a predetermination as to whether they would qualify based on what's on their record before they go and invest time and money in training and school. Lastly, we're going to collect data. We're going to collect data now and see how many people are being denied licenses, who they are, and see if we can learn more about this around our state. With the substitute, I believe, Mr. Chairman, you have a bill that was added to this. You may want to mention, is it 334?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if you'd like for me to jump in.
Sure.
Okay. So House Bill 334, that is our record restriction bill that we passed out of our committee. And so we're going to hitch a little ride with this great Senate bill if we could. And I appreciate the chairman being so accommodating to us on this. I do think there's one part, we're not taking testimony today, but we had to fix some stuff. Wade asked you.
I was going to mention that. There's a part of the bill that dealt with the insurance commissioner as well. And we realized in doing that in the Senate after we passed it, and to be fair, right before we were passed it, we were alerted there may be some issues of federal compliance. And so we agreed that we'd work on that in the House, and we have worked with the Department of Insurance and the commissioner and made some changes as to how it works under his section of the law. We realize our substitute doesn't have some of those changes, and so they can actually offer potential amendments. Already have it written up to the committee if you will consider that to address that part. It's all about federal compliance. One other thing I forgot to mention, Mr. Chairman, one other change from the subcommittee is on page 82, and it's part 7, section 7-1. In all this, we heard from the Firefighters Standards Council that currently the way the law is being interpreted is someone pled under the First Offender Act that they can't hire someone because of that. And so I know we discussed sometimes where that's really a guilty plea. We know it's not a conviction, but it is technically a plea. And so we just put language here at their request that gives them discretion to still let somebody work as a firefighter despite a first offender. And so it's related to what we're trying to do. They're not regulated like these boards are, but we added that at the request of that council as well.
Any questions from members of the committee? Wade, if you want to explain those couple of things that we need to make.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Smith. Hi, everyone. Wade Askew from Georgia Justice Project. So the changes are pretty simple. I believe, actually, for those who are in the subcommittee, that these changes were actually in the version of the bill you saw in the subcommittee. And so I think just in the editing, somehow these got knocked out on accident. So this is a return to what you had seen already. And so as Chairman Strickland described, we've been working with Department of Insurance actually since last summer on this. And so this is just to make sure they can comply with federal law. So what we'd be doing is striking lines 1955 through 1977. Federal law just requires essentially the insurance commissioner to view everything on somebody's record. We'd also be striking the latter portion of the sentence that begins on 1985. So beginning, the petitioning individual need not disclose any offenses falling under subsection B of Code Section 332321.2. That sentence would be struck.
Where's that sentence? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
sorry, it's the end of 1985 through the beginning of 1987. And then the following sentence takes a very minor edit. It says the petition shall include, right now it says any information. You would strike the any, and we would get, I'll just read what the new sentence will be. The petition shall also include any information, petition shall also include information submitted by the petitioner concerning the circumstances of their record and their rehabilitation. So a very minor change there. Next thing it would do is the end of line 1990 and line 1991 would be struck. So striking the commissioner shall support any adverse predetermination with clear and convincing evidence. The reason for that is folks with records have to get a federal waiver where they bear a burden. And so there needs to be synergy between our law and the federal waiver process. That is essentially it. We just repeat that. The section that I just went through is for folks who sell insurance. The next section 6-3 of this bill deals with adjusters. So it's really as y'all are familiar, there's a lot of copy paste in this bill, a lot of repetition. So section 6-3 is repetition. So we just have to cut out the exact same things for the adjusters. So I'm happy to read through line by line what that is. It's line 2046 through 2068 will be struck. The end of 2076 and then all of 2077 will be struck. A little tweak in language again about information submitted by petitioners, and then striking the end of 2081 and all of 2082. And that's it. So I have all that language actually written here so it can be hopefully typed up fairly easily.
You want to slide that over to us there, Wade? All right. Any questions from members of the committee? Whole federal government being aggravating as usual.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, thank you, Wade. All right. Any questions? Any discussion? Number 12, Mr. Whip.
At the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, I'll entertain that motion now, Mr.
Move to
Whip.
pass.
All right, move to pass second. All right. Are there any amendments?
They are. I've asked if you can use the write-up to make those, Mr. Chairman. I think they're all marked on there.
You want to go?
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the handwritten revisions that were just presented by Mr. Askew and their friendly amendment.
Okay. And these revisions are just to maintain compliance with the feds through the insurance department. Okay. All right, got a move and a second. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right. All those in favor of passing the bill as amended say aye. Those opposed, no. All right, good deal. All right, we're going to go back to the pro tems bill real quick. Well, I still got a quorum. Mr. Whip, just 1 minute. If I can have you. So we're going to go back to Senate Bill 272. Was there any discussion on Pro Tem Kennedy's bill? All right. Seeing no discussion, what's the will of the committee? All right, move to pass. Second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, it's on. Or it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. All right. Floor Leader Hatchett, my friend, my hibachi friend. That has done a number on me, by the way. All right. Tell us what you got.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have today Senate Bill 60. This bill deals with a serious problem in our state right now, which is the theft of catalytic converters. I'm sure in your district it's going on just like it is everywhere else. And what this bill seeks to do is give law enforcement the tools that they need to help slow down the theft and hopefully put an end to it. Right now in the state of Georgia, you can steal 50 catalytic converters, put them in the back of your vehicle. A police officer can pull you over, see the catalytic converters, and there's no tool for him to charge you or really stop you for that matter. this will allow them to charge you with possession of a used detached catalytic converter. The second thing this bill does is something that was brought to me locally. Right now in the state of Georgia, if you are a secondary metal recycling facility and someone brings in scrap metal, you can only write them a check for the scrap metal. This allows you now to pay $100 or less in cash. One of the reasons for that is I've toured these facilities. Sometimes a business is forced to write a check for $2, and the check alone costs the business more. And a lot of times the person that is receiving the check doesn't have a bank account. So this just allows, if it's under $100, they can pay in cash. It excludes the commonly stolen metals like catalytic converters, air conditioning coils, copper wire, things of that nature. And if y'all have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I also have with me, Mr. Chairman, Brian Hudson, who can speak to the mechanics of the bill, and I can answer any questions about the policies behind it, if that's permissive.
We're not taking any testimony today, but if you need to explain a change that y'all made, or I'll entertain that only. Plus, you're one of the best drummers around.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. One of the best? I'm just joking. No, I'm joking. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you, Senator Hatchett. So we realized today on page 18, so as Senator Hatchett mentioned, the bill has a cash provision in there that's kind of a sunset. It's a 2-year sunset, just to kind of see how this program works. Originally, when the bill passed 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was, cash was prohibited. And that was before all the reporting requirements were required now. And so nothing of that changes. So in part 2, the goal was to sunset this in 2026. And on lines 430 through 432, they accidentally struck out a provision of law that's currently in place, which deals with business-to-business transactions, which was originally, that was part of the original bill back in 2012. So we just want to make sure that that is not struck in 2 years, because that was the intent of the original legislation that passed, to make sure that business-to-business transactions could do cash and continue to do cash.
Okay. Any questions from members of the committee? Number 8, Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did have a question about the provision that makes it unlawful for a person to purchase, possess, transport, or sell. And this is page 7. And I probably missed it. It's probably in here. But where's the penalty provision?
Representative, we talked about that. Is that the same issue we discussed? Okay.
We talked about the background check. And,
yes,
and
we did fix that. Yes, ma'am.
Did. Thank you.
Yes, that was a very good idea.
Thank you. And I was just curious about the penalty provision. When we say it's unlawful, is it I'm assuming it's a crime, or
Yes, ma'am. It is. It is in here. I'm trying to remember where it is. I apologize.
am I missing something?
On page 15, I believe, Representative.
Okay.
I believe this is it. Line 355. So it's referring back to the existing code section, the penalties, where the first penalty is a misdemeanor, second is aggravated, and third is a felony.
Okay, copy that.
Does that make sense?
It does. Thank
okay.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no more questions, what's the will of the committee? Oh, you're making are you for? Okay. All right. Got to move to do pass. Got to move in a second. Are there any amendments? All right. Hold on a second. So on page 18, I do know that.
All right, page 18, starting where you have the strikeout there, where all the language that we had struck out in lines 430, 431, and 432, we'll be putting that back. Okay. Does that sound like your amendment, Minority Caucus Treasurer? Okay, all right. Got that moved. Do I hear a second? No, we're unstriking it. We're hitting that other button. Yeah, we're restoring. We call that unstriking over in West Georgia, you know. Y'all call it voir dire over in Elberton, or y'all call it voir dire too? Okay, I was just making sure. I had to aggravate Rob a little bit. All right, so. All right, I'm not making mountain jokes. All right, so I got moving a second on the amendment. Yeah, I had a second. Yeah, I had a second on it. Okay, all right, moving second on the amendment. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. All right. I'm going to call the question on the whole bill as amended. All those in favor of passing Senator Hatchett's SB 60 as amended, say aye. All those opposed, no. Congratulations.
Thank
We
you
sent
very much.
another one on.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
with
y'all.
that.
Who's carrying that one?
Yeah, who's carrying that one, Bo?
Lauren McDonald.
All right, God help you. If I'd have known that before. All right, we're adjourned. Y'all have a good one.